In this morning's Health Watch, the autism risks for children with older mothers. A new study finds a 40-year-old woman's risk of having a child with autism is more than 50% greater than a woman in her late 20s. Here to discuss the study, our own Dr. Jennifer Ashton. Good morning.
Good morning, Harry.
When you saw these numbers yesterday, what was your reaction?
Not really surprising. We've known for quite some time that as mothers age, they do have an increased risk of changes in their genes, which then can manifest with some types of birth consequences.
Because it's across the board.
That's right.
The older you get, the risk of all kinds of things really
Absolutely.
increase. What is your most important takeaway from this?
Well, first of all, this study found that there was about an 18% increased risk for each 5 years that a woman aged compared to her early 20s. Not a surprise. We're meant to reproduce in our early 20s, not over 40. I think there's a couple things. When you talk about autism, this study was an association study. It didn't show a cause and effect.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing is we know with autism, there are multiple factors that go into its association.
Right.
One of them is age, one of them is genetics, one of them is environment, and usually a combination of those.
And the man's age plays a factor in this too, does it not?
That's right. They did show an increased risk when dads were over 40, but only when the mother was also under 30.
All right. As I was looking through the material over the last 24 hours, the risk of a child being born with autism, 1 in 100, basically, right? And this study suggests the risk for women over 40 having an autistic child still less than 4 in 1,000.
And that is really important. When you see numbers like a 51% increased risk, that sounds very threatening and very ominous. When you look at the absolute risk, we call it in science and medicine, really about 1 in 226, 4 in 1,000, still fairly low.
All right, so we know that the mother's age plays a factor. We know the father's age plays a factor. Especially as older parents are more and more, this is a trend that's been going on for more than 20 years now. What are some of the other things to keep in mind just in terms of the reality of having children at an older age?
Well, first of all, this is not the end-all and be-all. Your decision to have children is a complicated one, number one. Number two, when we think about any other birth defect, we have to remember that things like schizophrenia, low birth weight, Down syndrome, we know they go up as parents age. That doesn't mean you're going to have your children when you're not mentally and socially ready to do so. It just means it's one factor in a very complicated pool of issues.
It really is. It's all about that ticking clock.
Absolutely.
Once again. All right.